Urban chaos doesn't begin with an explosion. It begins with silence, the silence of a system that no longer protects you. A street goes dark. A shop shuts its doors too fast. A scream echoes between concrete walls. People look around for answers, but they fail to recognize the truth. When a city collapses, the only law that still applies is the law of the predator. And in an environment like that, you are not surrounded by civilians. You are surrounded by hunters. If chaos erupts tonight, the first thing that comes for you won't be rescue teams. It will be the eyes of someone searching for a weaker target. Survival won't belong to the fastest, the strongest, or the bravest. It will belong to the one who disappears before danger notices, the one who erases patterns, breaks attention, and moves through the storm as if they were never there. This is not instinct. This is technique. And if you want to stay alive in a collapsing city, you must learn how to become invisible. No recognizable patterns. No unnecessary noise. No visual signature that stands out in a crowd. No information leaking from your devices, your movements, or your habits. No predictable routes. No interactions that expose fear, resources, or intent. No hints of what you carry or where you store it. This is not training for the peaceful. This is conditioning for the tactical survivor. Starting now, you are no longer a target. You are a shadow. And the 7 tactics that follow will teach you how to move through chaos as if you don't exist. You survive the city by erasing the one thing every predator depends on, your pattern. Humans are creatures of repetition, and in normal life, that keeps the world predictable. In chaos, it gets you killed. A collapsing city turns routine into a trail, a map that leads danger straight to you. Your job is to destroy that map. You begin by eliminating anything you do at the same time, in the same place, or in the same sequence. You break the rhythm that others can anticipate. You never leave home through the same exit twice in a row. You never walk the same route unless you want someone to follow it. You don't appear at familiar spots on a predictable schedule. Every decision becomes a variable, never a constant. You deny anyone the ability to track you through time or behavior. In chaos, people fall into 2 categories: those who cling to routine for comfort, and those who weaponize unpredictability. You will become the second. You adopt the mindset of someone who assumes they're already being observed. That assumption shapes your every movement. When you move, you do it without repeating speed, posture, or timing. When you stop where no one expects. When you rest, you do so away from traffic lines, away from patterns that force civilians into predictable flow. The city is a grid, but you will not follow its logic. A predator scans for repetition because repetition reveals opportunity. The man who always goes to the same market at the same hour. The woman who always pauses at the same cafe window. The family that always returns home through the same block. Each is a pattern, and each is an invitation. You will extend no such invitation. Even your silhouette must resist predictability. No consistent gait, no recognizable stance, no ritualized movements that become identifiers. You cultivate the presence of someone who cannot be categorized, someone who blends, shifts, dissolves. Your goal is simple: deny any observer the ability to build a profile on you. If they cannot predict you, they cannot target you. If they cannot follow your habits, they cannot anticipate your next move. You stop being a person with routines. You become a variable, fluid, unstable, unreadable, a shadow that never stands in the same place twice. Chaos amplifies sound. In a collapsing city, Noise becomes a weapon and a beacon. Every footstep, every clatter, every careless movement broadcasts your location to anyone listening. Predators don't need sight when they can track you by sound alone. Your objective is absolute noise discipline, moving through urban terrain without announcing your existence. You start with your body. Your steps become deliberate, controlled, and placed on the outside edge of the foot to soften impact. You avoid gravel, metal grates, loose debris, and anything that snaps, crunches, or echoes. You treat every surface like it wants to betray you, because in chaos, it will. You adjust your breathing, steady and low, never ragged or panicked. Your gear must obey the same laws. Anything that rattles, clinks, or shifts must be secured. Straps tightened, zippers locked, metal covered with cloth. You silence your equipment the way you silence yourself, completely. A single loose object can compromise your position faster than a scream. Noise discipline extends beyond movement. You avoid slamming doors, dragging bags, opening wrappers, or tapping screens. You never speak unless the environment masks your voice. In panic-filled streets, people shout, cry, and argue, each sound a flare signaling their vulnerability. You use that noise to cloak your own silence. You pass through chaos like a ghost slipping between waves of sound, never causing a ripple of your own. Urban acoustics are your enemy and your ally. Narrow alleys amplify footsteps. Stairwells turn whispers into announcements. Empty buildings carry echoes farther than you expect. You learn to test noise before committing. A light tap with a finger, a shift of weight, a controlled micro-step to read how the environment reacts. If a surface protests, you redirect. If a room reverberates, you cross it differently. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the mastery of it. Noise discipline is more than caution. It is dominance. When others panic, they lose control of volume, rhythm, and presence. You maintain control so absolute that sound itself becomes your cloak. The less they hear, the less they know. The less they know, the safer you are. You will not be the loudest. You will not be the noticeable one. You will be the one they never heard coming and never heard leaving. In a city descending into chaos, visibility becomes liability. People think camouflage means hiding behind colors, patterns, or tactical gear. They are wrong. True urban camouflage is psychological. It is the art of becoming visually forgettable, so ordinary, so unremarkable, that the human brain refuses to register you. Predators hunt what stands out. You will give them nothing to notice. Your first principle: blend, don't disguise. Disguises draw scrutiny. Blending dissolves you into the environment. You study what the crowd looks like at that hour, in that district, under those conditions. If everyone is wearing muted tones, you match them. If everyone carries bags, you carry one. If nobody wears bright colors, you eliminate every trace of them from your presence. You choose clothing that carries no message, no identity, no story, neutral tones, simple lines, nothing reflective, nothing unusual. You avoid symbols, logos, or accessories that allow anyone to recall you later. You remove anything distinctive: jewelry, unique patches, standout silhouettes. Your look should be so standard that witnesses struggle to describe you beyond, "I don't remember." Movement is part of your camouflage. Predators track unusual behavior. Hesitating, looking around too much, walking too fast or too slow. You synchronize your pace with the general flow. You avoid sharp turns, sudden stops, abrupt changes. You walk with purpose but without urgency. Your posture remains neutral. Shoulders relaxed, head level, eyes scanning only through peripheral vision. Emotional displays make you memorable. Emotional neutrality makes you invisible. You train your face to reveal nothing. Camouflage extends beyond clothing and posture. Light is your adversary. Bright zones, open spaces, illuminated storefronts, all expose your shape. You operate through shadows, peripheral zones, the edges of crowds. You avoid standing under streetlights. Avoid pausing in open intersections. Avoid becoming the tallest or most isolated figure in the area. Urban architecture gives you natural cover. Doorways, pillars, scaffolding, parked vehicles. You pass through these zones like a current, always partially obscured, never fully exposed. You also manage your visual signature at distance. Long-range observers notice contrast and movement. You minimize both. When crossing open ground, you reduce motion, tighten your profile, and move along existing lines, walls, fences, parked cars, to break your outline. Your gait becomes consistent with your surroundings, neither predatory nor cautious, just another civilian moving with the collapsing crowd. Your goal is simple: ensure that anyone scanning the scene overlooks you automatically. Not because you hide aggressively, but because nothing about you demands attention. Urban camouflage is the science of being completely ignorable. When chaos erupts, the crowd becomes noise and you become a single, indistinguishable pixel within it. They won't remember seeing you. They won't notice you leaving. Information is the most dangerous currency in a collapsing city. Whoever controls it gains power. Whoever leaks it becomes prey. Your objective is absolute OPSEC, an information blackout so complete that no one can track you, profile you, or anticipate your next move. In chaos, people expose themselves without realizing it. They broadcast their location through devices, reveal their intentions through conversation, disclose their resources through careless behavior. You will not make those mistakes. Your digital footprint is the first threat you neutralize. Phones, tablets, and wearables are tracking devices disguised as conveniences. Location services, background apps, wireless connections, each bleeds data that can be exploited by anyone with access, from criminals to desperate civilians hunting for opportunity. In chaos, intelligence spreads faster than fear. Someone sees your signal in the wrong place at the wrong time, and suddenly you're a target. You shut down every transmitter you carry. Airplane mode is not enough. Power down, battery out if possible. A silent device is still a liability. A dead device is merely weight. Information blackout extends to your voice. You do not discuss plans, supplies, routes, or intentions. Not with strangers, not with neighbors, not even with people you trust under normal circumstances. Panic makes people unpredictable. Hunger makes them dangerous. Desperation makes them traitors. The less others know about you, the fewer angles they have to exploit. Your conversations become brief, neutral, and empty. You provide nothing valuable, nothing actionable, nothing revealing. Your body language must follow the same rule. Do not look like someone with resources. Do not move like someone with a mission. Do not display urgency, confidence, or fear. Each emotion is a message. Each message reveals a weakness or a clue. You maintain controlled neutrality, the stance of someone who has nothing worth taking. Your routes and destinations must remain untraceable. You avoid direct paths, fixed schedules, or patterns that observers can map. You never return to the same safe point in a predictable rhythm. You never let anyone walk behind you for long. You break line of sight often, using corners, crowds, and vertical structures to force resets in observational tracking. OPSEC is not a suggestion. It is survival doctrine. In a collapsing city, the moment someone knows who you are, what you have, or where you're going, you are already compromised. You will not give them that advantage. You operate in blackout. You move in silence. You become unreadable, unknowable, untargetable. Movement in a collapsing city is not walking. It is navigation through a living, shifting battlefield where every step can expose you. When society breaks, terrain changes. Streets become funnels, crowds become hazards, and open spaces become kill zones. Your objective is to move like a ghost, seen by many, remembered by none, targeted by no one. To do that, you must master urban movement protocols built on unpredictability, terrain exploitation, and behavioral concealment. Your first rule: never move with the crowd. Crowds behave like panicked rivers, loud, erratic, and easily manipulated. Predators track them because they concentrate fear and resources in one place. You move adjacent to them, not within them. Close enough to blend, far enough to maneuver. Staying on the periphery gives you escape routes the center will never have. When the crowd surges, you shift. When it stops, you pause. When it breaks, you disappear before anyone notices you slipping away. Chaos creates choke points. Doorways, stairwells, escalators, narrow alleys, intersections near transit hubs. These become traps. People pile up, tensions spike, and visibility collapses. You avoid these zones completely. If forced to cross them, you do so with minimal time on the X. A single decisive movement, not a hesitation, not a glance over your shoulder. Your objective is to reduce your exposure to the places every other person instinctively chooses. Urban structures are your allies. Every wall, vehicle, pillar, dumpster, scaffold, and column is a shield. You move along edges, not through open centers. The closer you are to cover, the more options you maintain. Corners become reset points. You use them to break line of sight, shake tailing attempts, or pause long enough to reassess routes. You never stand in door frames, never walk the center of a hallway, and never silhouette yourself in windows. Light outlines you against the chaos. Shadow erases you from it. Timing is as critical as terrain. You move when the environment masks you. During surges of noise, when a crowd shifts direction, when a distraction pulls eyes away, when a building alarm triggers, you become motion within motion, disappearing inside environmental noise. When everyone runs, you don't. When everyone stops, you don't. You move in the beats between their actions, never matching their rhythm, never syncing with predictable flow. You monitor behavior with surgical detachment. Aggressive energy, clustered attention, sudden directional turns. These signal developing danger zones. You read body language the way others read street signs. You avoid individuals who scan the environment too deliberately. You bypass anyone carrying objects in ways that suggest concealment. You stay clear of people whose panic threatens to erupt. Movement is not just physical. It is psychological reconnaissance. When you must cross open ground, you compress your profile. Shorten your steps, reduce your arm swing, minimize lateral motion. You cross on diagonals rather than straight lines, intersecting visual lanes at angles that make tracking difficult. Your objective is not speed, it is invisibility in motion. A collapsing city exposes anyone who moves with emotion. You move with intention. You do not run, shout, gesture, or draw attention with frantic momentum. You travel as if you have nowhere important to be, yet always in control, always calculating, always aware of exits, cover points, and fallback paths. Ghost movement is simple. You arrive without being followed. You leave without being noticed. And no one can retrace the path you used to get there. In chaos, interaction is risk. Every word, every look, every gesture becomes a point of vulnerability. People under stress behave irrationally, desperate, suspicious, or predatory. They search for cues: fear, confidence, resources, weakness. Your objective is to give them nothing. Zero interaction isn't avoidance. It is tactical silence, engineered to prevent escalation and eliminate opportunities for others to target you. You begin with your face. Expression is information. Fear draws predators. Anger provokes confrontation. Confidence attracts challengers. You neutralize all of it. Your face becomes a calm, empty surface. No tension in the jaw, no raised brows, no darting eyes. You project the presence of someone unimportant, uninterested, and unthreatening. People overlook what they cannot read, and they ignore what poses no emotional stimulus. Your eyes must obey the same rule. Direct eye contact is a challenge in chaos. Prolonged eye contact is an invitation to conflict. Instead, you observe through peripheral awareness. You scan without visibly scanning. You gather data without signaling intent. You see everything, but no one sees curiosity in you. Your voice is a weapon you do not reveal unless you must. Speaking exposes your emotional state, accent, age, confidence, and stress level. Even a single sentence can betray whether you carry supplies or feel vulnerable. You respond only when necessary, and when you do, your tone remains flat, short, and devoid of hooks. You offer no details, no opinions, no openings for conversation. The less you say, the less anyone can use. Proximity is another battleground. People standing too close can read your gear, smell stress, or reach for what you carry. You control distance without drawing attention. Subtle shifts, small steps, repositioning behind obstacles. If someone approaches, you angle your body to reduce exposure while maintaining the option to disengage. You never allow yourself to be boxed in, cornered, or flanked. Interactions you cannot avoid must be treated like explosive devices, handled gently, minimized, and ended quickly. You do not argue. You do not explain. You do not negotiate with heightened emotion. The more you speak, the more risk you accumulate. You sidestep conflict by refusing to feed it. Most confrontations die not because someone wins, but because someone gives the other nothing to respond to. Zero interaction means zero emotional footprint. Panic radiates, frustration travels, confidence emboldens. You emit none of it. You are present, but not available. Visible, but not engaged. Close enough to blend, distant enough to survive. In a collapsing city, the person who interacts the least is often the one who walks away intact. You will speak only when required. You will react only when necessary. And you will leave no conversational trail that leads back to you. Resources are life in a collapsing city. And the moment someone realizes you have them, you are no longer a person. You are a target. People kill for water. They stalk for food. They follow for gear. Your objective is resource invisibility, carrying, storing, and transporting supplies without revealing a single clue. Survival is not about what you have, but how effectively you conceal it. You start with your appearance. Resource carriers draw attention because they look burdened, cautious, or protective. You eliminate all visible signs of weight. Distribute supplies across your body so no single area looks heavy. Soft containers, flat profiles, muted colors. Nothing clinks, bulges, or shifts. Every item is packed to avoid noise, movement, or shape distortion. You must look like someone with nothing worth taking. Behavior exposes resources faster than appearance. People with supplies walk differently, more guarded, more deliberate, constantly checking their bag or adjusting its straps. You do none of this. You never touch your gear in public. You never glance at storage locations. You never react when someone moves near your equipment. Emotional ownership is visible. Neutrality hides everything. Shadow logistics begins with planning. You move resources at times when no one is watching. Early hours, heavy distractions, high-noise environments, or during directional shifts in crowds. You avoid repeating routes. You vary schedules. You never transport everything at once. Large movements happen in fragments, spread across multiple locations and time windows. If someone notices one action, they never witness the whole operation. Storage must be compartmentalized. Never keep all supplies in a single point of failure. A raided backpack, a discovered stash, a compromised safe room should cost you something. Never everything. You establish decoy areas with low-value items to mislead anyone searching. The real resources remain hidden in locations that appear undesirable, dangerous, or structurally inconvenient. Behind immovable objects, inside insulated voids, above eye level, beneath overlooked debris. When entering or exiting a resource location, you behave with absolute normalcy. Hesitation reveals importance. Speed reveals intent. You adopt a consistent, forgettable rhythm. Arrive casually, leave casually, never linger, never look around more than usual. The key is to make the environment, not the stash, the focal point of your motion. You must also conceal the psychological markers of scarcity and abundance. Hungry people scan aggressively. Thirsty people move with desperation. Well-supplied people walk with subtle confidence. Both extremes expose you. You position yourself between them, calm but not comfortable, alert but not starving. Emotional neutrality protects as effectively as physical concealment. Shadow logistics transforms you into someone whose supplies seem non-existent. No one suspects you have anything. No one imagines you could support yourself for days, weeks, or longer. You do not look like a survivor. You do not act like one. You look like someone clinging to the scraps, worthless to target, invisible to threat, forgotten by those searching for opportunity. In chaos, the visible resource carrier dies first. The invisible one lives long enough to choose their future. Survival in a collapsing city isn't about strength, speed, or luck. It's about control over what others see, hear, and know about you. Chaos turns every street into a hunting ground, every crowd into a risk field, every mistake into a signal that draws danger closer. The difference between those who vanish into the storm and those who are consumed by it lies in discipline. You have learned the disciplines that remove you from the predator's sightline. You have learned to erase your patterns so no one can track you, to silence your presence so no one can hear you, to camouflage your appearance so no one remembers you. You've learned to cut your digital and verbal footprint down to nothing, to move through the city without leaving a trace, to disconnect emotionally from the chaos around you, and to protect your resources with strategy instead of force. These are not tricks. They are survival doctrines, and when applied together, they transform you from a target into a ghost. Someone who passes through danger without activating it. Someone who exists in the environment without being part of the threat map. While others react, you calculate. While others shout, you observe. While others expose themselves with fear or pride, you present nothing but neutrality. This is how you endure a city that has turned against itself. Urban collapse reveals a brutal truth. Visibility is death, predictability is death, vulnerability is death. The only path forward is invisibility born from intention. You do not wait for help. You do not rely on systems that have already failed. You rely on your ability to disappear, physically, psychologically, and strategically. Remember this final directive. Survival is not the reward for being strong. It is the reward for being unnoticed. Become the shadow. Move without pattern. Think without noise. Act without trace. And walk through chaos as if it cannot touch you. Because if you apply every tactic you've learned, it won't.